Hey everyone, good morning. So the reason I'm doing this video is because sometimes we will discover a chickadee is interested in a nest box, and they start maybe just day by day visiting the nest box. And a lot of times chickadees try to excavate it, so they'll kind of like pick inside and kind of dig around in there. And maybe you've even discovered some sprigs of moss and things like that. And so along with that, suddenly bluebirds or tree swallows or another type of bird is interested in the nest box. And so, to protect them and prevent eviction, you want to get a 1 1/8 inch hole reducer. And so maybe you've ordered that, maybe you got it on Amazon or it's coming in the mail or something, but you need something to buy you a few days. So in this video, I'm going to show how to make just a really temporary makeshift hole reducer, and that's going to use little butter lid tubs. You could use that, or like, sour cream, anything like that. It's really easy plastic to cut. So we'll do that, and then just to make it super easy, I have a link to a template below, and that's also what I'm going to use as a template to mark everything. So let's just really quickly talk about the supplies. So I do want to double up on these because they are really flimsy plastic. So I want to double up on these, and so I recommend getting two of these butter tubs. So that's what I've got, is 2 of these butter tub lids. I've got a pair of scissors, permanent marker, so you need something to trace your template with. I've got a lighter, and the reason for the lighter is because when you cut, you get these like really pokey, hard edges, and so when you run the lighter around it, which I'll demonstrate, and you want to be very careful when you do it, but when you run the lighter around it, it melts the plastic around and it softens it, so it makes like a nice like filed down entry hole. And then I also have an awl, and you can get these at hardware stores or craft stores. If you don't have an awl, you just need something sharp to use to poke through, and that's going to help get your starter hole, and then also the little 2 screw holes that you would use in order to mount this to your nest box. I really love having these. I just recommend, like, even if not for this project, just get an awl. It's like one of my biggest go-to tools that I have. You could also probably use a nail, but again, be really careful. Maybe like an eyeglass type screwdriver, those little tiny screwdrivers, you could probably use that to poke in there. You want to be careful, but the plastic is super soft. So with that, let's just dive in on how to make one of these. So what we'll do is we'll start out and we will trace our template. And just so you know, this part of it does not have to be perfect. If you want it wider, you can. This is the part that we really need to care about. So yeah, you could always make this wider. You could also make it a square if you wanted. But yeah, we'll trace this out. And then real quick, I'm just gonna punch. Okay, and then punch that. That's good. And then I'm still in the line here, and so I'm gonna trace this one. Okay, and then we'll trace out the other one. And we will punch through. It's not that hard to do. We're set, so if you can see that. And then we begin cutting. So the next thing is just kind of punching through here to get a starter hole going. And be very careful when you're doing this. So those are pretty good starter holes. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to very carefully flip. And I kind of want to get little flaps going. And if you do double up, probably make it wider than the permanent marker mark. That just, because this won't be perfect, I didn't cut it together either, so that gives some extra room. It's crazy how small 1 1/8 inches. There's one. Yeah, be careful not to slice your fingers as you do this. Be very careful. And cutting the flaps just helps the scissors maneuver, so yeah, just the flaps help angle the scissors better, so it gives you a way to go around. Okay, so if you notice here, these edges are really not great, and rather than trying to like sand them down, which would be really hard, we're just going to take a lighter and very carefully run that around. Don't burn your fingers. Ooh, it does warm up too, so be careful as you do this. And maybe use tweezers or wear gloves, because yeah, you could burn your fingers. Okay, so we'll do the next one. And I know somebody in the comments is going to say, oh, there's a better way to do that than using a lighter, and so please feel free to post that if you know of a better way. That's great. And then, you know, everybody hit the like button on that so it can be kind of pushed to the top and everybody can see that comment. But I don't know of a better way offhand, so this is just my way of doing this. And I'm going to kind of push that down a little bit. Okay. So when you double up, it actually doubled up pretty well here. So you would just kind of double them up here. And then you would probably want to drive your awl in there a little deeper. Just see here if I can. Yeah, so there it's doubled up pretty nicely. And then get that all in there real good. And be very careful as you do it. So yeah, this is not going to last you a very long time. I really recommend getting a metal hole reducer, but it is a good solution to just buy you time. You can get this right up on the box and protect your chickadees that way, and again, keep them from being evicted by bigger birds. The other thing I will say is some people wonder, when should I put a hole reducer up? You know, I worry about abandonment, and that's a good worry. My personal experience, and I can only speak from my own experience here, is that I put the hole reducer on as soon as I saw repeated multiple activity within a day. So I just noticed that it was becoming a very active box. I did check the box and there was no sprigs of moss. And so what I think was happening was the chickadees were excavating it, but they hadn't quite started building the nest yet. So my suggestion is watch the nest box, and if you see multiple day visits, and on any given day they're visiting multiple times per day, that's a good time to get a hole reducer on. So sometimes they're just kind of finicky, but ultimately the whole reason you're doing the hole reducer is just to prevent eviction from other birds, and also just to protect from house sparrows and things like that. So if you are iffy, the other suggestion is to wait until the first egg is laid, and obviously there's going to be a little bit of trouble with them getting used to the hole reducer being on there, but don't worry, they'll get it. Same thing when they're working on building the nest and you put the hole reducer on there. You may see a little less activity that day that you put the hole reducer on, but then the next day you'll start seeing more and more activity again. So sometimes they're just a little bit nervous about it, but then they'll come back. So again, here's a quick solution to buy you some time. And yeah, if you found this video helpful, you know, hit that like button. It helps get that content out there so other people can see this video too. And definitely subscribe if you want to keep seeing more content like this. So thank you all so much for watching. Bye.